Hi folks, thanks for joining me for this week's river tutorial. As September's nearly washed out, I posted this pattern on Facebook a couple of weeks back and people asked me to show how it was done. Basically it's a bomb, it weighs a gram the finished fly is a gram and it's on a size 12 hook. It's tied with grayling in mind, but I'm sure it will take its fair share of brown trout as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the vise then is a Hanak H450 Jig Superb, that's at size 12. It's a medium wire hook and it's in black nickel. Now, as you've probably noticed, it's been modified by the addition of a 4.6mm tungsten bead and a medium sized Java hook, and I'll just show you the packets for these. So the slotted bead 4.6, these ones are from Troutline, and as you can see it's a copper colour, and again the Java body, again from Troutline, is at size medium. Now what I did, and when I prepare my hooks for these, I put the beads on, add a little bit of super glue, and I stick the Java body on, so I'm ready to tie. So that's the preparation side done. So next then we've got to get some thread onto the hook. So what I'm using here is, you won't be able to see the label because the bobbin I'm using, but this is UTC, it's black thread, it's 70 denier. First thing to do then is get a little bit of wax onto this thread and catch in just behind the bead. Then using your rat's tail to try and help you get a bit of purchase onto it, just secure that Java body onto the back, because it has got a habit of popping off. So I'm fairly happy that I've got that on. So I'm going to come with my scissors and remove my waste. Now I want to get good coverage on the Java here with the thread, and the main problem with that is it's very slippy. So what I'm going to do to aid me is add just a very thin coat of super glue, and this just helps the thread bed in. So I'm going to just come up and start to get the Java bead covered. Doesn't matter how you do it, I like to crisscross along it. I just think once you've got a couple of wraps down like this, it holds it into place, and once the glue dries, it's solid. Now I call this type of fly, and there's no offence to hunchbacks here, but I call it a hunchback style, and the reason's obvious. We've got the big Java bead coming over the top here. This is a great fly actually. It does take its fair share, but it's not just a sacrificial fly. It's not my favourite, and what I'll do actually is just up there in the information bar I'll put a post onto a fly that I've done in an earlier video, and it's a Howard Croston creation, which I really like, and it works particularly well as well. And you can get that actually down to about 2 grams if you use the right hooks and Java beads. So I'm happy that's in place. Got good coverage there, so it's going to be able to take my dubbing and dressing. So next I want to catch in my Shellback. Now what this is from Troutline. It's Flashback, it's 4mm strips, and this one is red brown. Now although it says it's red brown, and you don't really get the impression on the camera because of the harsh light I'm using, but it really comes across as a purple sort of sheen. First thing I want to do with it is just get a little tag to catch in. So I've cut a little point off there, and I'm going to come back, and on the back here I'm just going to capture that in. Bring it down all the way to the bottom, and then you can bring your thread back up onto the Java. Next thing then, the rib of this fly, I'm going to be using a silver wire. This is Veniard's number 27. It's just a medium wire. I've already got some off here. Any silver wire will do you, or gold. You know, as I say in a lot of my videos, the choice is yours. You know, you don't have to follow this exactly. The idea is to give you some inspiration for tying, rather than say you've got to tie with specific materials. You know, you should tie with what you've got. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with that so far. Next, I'm going to come in with my body material, and I'm using some Mad Rabbit Dubbing Plus. This one's the black pepper. I've got some here, and basically it's a very dark dubbing, and it's got little flecks of UV through it. So what I want to do is just catch that onto my thread. I'm just dubbing it on, nothing fancy. Dubs really nicely, and then I can start to work my way up the body. Oh, going to need a bit more just to get to the end. And then when I get to the end, I can just try and fill that natural gap that you get where the Java bead comes into contact with the slotted bead. So that's worked out quite nicely. Next thing I'm going to do then with my dubbing brush is just comb a little bit of the fibres off the back, like so, and then bring my Shellback over the top and get a couple of turns over the material, pull the material back, and a couple of turns in front. Then you can come in with your snips and simply remove that. So far so good, no disasters. In fact, as I do these videos, there seems to be less and less disasters. I remember last year at this time, I was forever having to redo them, but it's all going. I'm tempting fate, aren't I? I'm tempting fate. Anyway, so I've got my Shellback on, and I'm about to start bringing my silver rib over. And what I want is to get my spacing approximately 1/8 of an inch apart on the back here. That's looking pretty good. If it needs some encouragement with your fingers just to keep the shell straight on the back, don't be afraid to get in there and just push and pull it a bit. Remember, all that hard work earlier on getting the Java bead lashed to the hook will help you here, so it's not going to go anywhere. So I've brought my rib up to where I've trapped in my back foil, and I'm now going to capture that in. Couple of turns in front. Keeping tension on your thread, you can then work away the wire and remove it. So that's looking pretty good. Now to finish off, you can use a contrasting dubbing. I'm going to use some Country Life Prism SLF dubbing. I know that the shop no longer exists, but you can get very similar sort of dubs. Hens do some nice ones, but I really like this one for this pattern. What I'm going to do while I've been wittering on, my thread's unravelled, I'm going to come in with my needle and flatten out the thread from behind, then simply split my thread and insert just a tiny amount of the dubbing. And this is why you should use a clip. I'm making a right pig's ear of it. Just about got there. There we go. So you don't need too much, but I've put in enough as will do me. And just spin your bobbin to trap them fibres between the threads. There will be some long fibres that stick out. Just remove them, and then to finish up, slick back each time, and there you have quite an effective glitzy collar. So to finish the fly off, I'm simply going to put a little bit of UV resin onto my thread, then come in with my whip finish tool, like so. Remove the thread, then give it a quick blast. And there's the fly finished. Now, a word of caution, as I said at the start, this comes in at 1 gram, so wear a crash helmet when you're fishing and make sure you don't hit your rod, or it might be a very sore day, is what I would say. But if you want to get down fast in quick water, you'll be hard pressed to beat this. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about clicking the button now, and I'll see you all next time.